Hello, my name is Chad White. I own a financial planning, retirement planning practice in Toms River named Safe Harbor Wealth Management. And today I'm here with my friend and colleague, Amy Greene. And Amy, you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Absolutely. Thank you, Chad. My name is Amy Greene, and I am a financial coach. I help entrepreneurs manage the money side of business so they can pay themselves consistently and feel financially stable and secure.
And one of the things I see when I meet with people is they have good incomes and they're not really organized with their finances. And they come to me and say things like, I make so much money, I have no idea where it's all going. And they feel like they're not making the progress that they should. And so a lot of times with those types of people, I will refer them to Amy so she can help them get their finances straightened out and off of, especially for small business owners, off of the roller coaster that they might feel that they're on. So can you talk a little bit about how you do that, Amy?
Absolutely. So I work with entrepreneurs mostly, but I still do work with people individually on their personal finances. And the goal here is to create stability first and to really help them learn how to manage their money in a way that works for them. So many people either ignore it, they just dismiss it, they feel like they just need to make more money. But the goal is always to manage what you're currently making. So both on business and personal side, I'm helping them understand how to live within their means. That becomes step number one. In my business side, I walk my clients through what's called my paid method. So we set up a profit structure, and this really gives them a simple system to organize their money, because we were talking about them being disorganized, but it helps them organize their money. So when they open their bank app, they know how much they've got set aside for taxes, for owner's pay, for expenses, and even for profit. Then we work on an allocation strategy, which is really helping them understand where is every dollar going to go. And this is it's almost like for the business side, it's budgeting without budgeting. But on the personal side, we would work on creating a budget so they knew exactly where every dollar was going. Then we work on creating cash reserves. And this is really important to have money in the bank, because any business that's failing is because they don't have enough capital, they don't have enough cash. And so we want to always have money in the bank to invest if some opportunity comes up, or to cover yourself during slow periods. And the last step I work with is what I call debt-free decisions. So just like debt can be a financial thief on the personal side, it really does rob us on the business side too. And when we're operating with what we call OPM, other people's money, we don't make the best decisions. So I really help my clients eliminate any business debt that they might have. A lot of people fund their businesses with credit cards or use it for startup capital. We work to help eliminate that and really make sure that they have a very clean financial system. I believe really much in simplicity and ease of use, so that it feels easy, it feels simple.
So you're helping them manage the day to day of their business income and the month to month, and helping them get squared away on a plan and kind of a track to run on, so they know, what do I do first? What do I do second? What do I do third? But you're not helping them make any investment decisions. You're not helping them figure out what kind of retirement account they need to have. That's not what you do. You are a financial coach, as far as, here's how much you have coming in each month and how are we going to allocate it to make the best of our resources. What I find people saying is, I make so much money, where's it all going? But also I find people saying, if I could just make more money, I feel like I can make it work. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that's really a fallacy?
Absolutely. So I've been coaching now for 8 years, and it's so many people just feel like if you make more money, then that's just going to solve all your problems. However, we see proof in the real world when we have lottery winners. Let's say, for example, they win $1.7 billion in the lottery. I mean, take home is probably close to 700, 750, 800 million. But some of these people will still end up, most of the lottery winners end up bankrupt after winning, because they didn't know how to manage the money they were making. And when they got more, they thought, okay, this is great. I can live with just doing whatever I want. and they realize that they can spend it very quickly. You can spend a lot of money very fast. And we see it too with NFL players or sports people who make millions of dollars when they might be coming out of poverty or from places that they didn't make any money. Or they're right now we've got college kids, right? With the what is it called? Name, image, and likeness, the NILs, and they're making millions of dollars when they're like 18 or 19 years old. So money is something that we really have to get control over. It's not about how much you make, it's about what you do with what you do make. And so we have to have a plan for it because when you do get it, it's just gonna go. It's gonna evaporate into a new car or other things, right? It's like consumables. And so it's exceptionally important to have a plan for it so that you can reach the goals that you say you want to reach.
I feel like sometimes people, when they speak with me about it, and I think about who do I want to send to you, I have people who really aren't running on a track. They may have read a book, they may have been through a program like Financial Peace University, but they haven't been able to do it on their own. They're trying to accomplish five different goals at once, rather than focusing on one thing at a time. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. So I see it all the time when clients first come to me. They're paying about 100, maybe $200 extra on every single debt that they have. They might have 4, 5, 10 credit cards, and they're like, "Oh, I'm just paying a little extra on each one," but they're never making traction on any of them. And so what we do is we strip all that away and we pay minimum payments, and we get ourselves to a place of stability first. So the stability is we're putting money into the bank to help us in case there's any kind of emergency, whether it's heating and air something or a car problem or a trip to the ER. The goal is to help them not go into debt to handle we'll call it a minor emergency. So and that's what most of us experience is just these little like dings of cash going out and we put it on the charge card or put it on the HELOC or do things where it's adding to debt. So we build some stability first and then so we're always working on one thing at a time because if we can just go after one thing at a time and be done with it, then we move on. And so when clients get, say, like a bonus, my goal is what debt can we pay off in full right now that has a big payment? So I just had a client who got a bonus and I'm like, let's pay off her car because it's $400 a month. And that's one of our biggest payments. And so then we can take that $400 a month and apply it. Now we can apply it to the credit card and that's going to really help with traction. So it's about what makes the most sense to make the most progress in a short period of time. And a plan that I craft with my clients does exactly that.
Can you talk a little bit about that and how you get that to happen?
Well, the first thing is that there's built-in accountability, right? You're paying me to help you with to solve this problem. You're paying me to help you make progress. And so when clients they show up, right? It's like there's something about when you pay the personal trainer at the gym, you show up. And then the personal trainer is going to tell you, no, pick up the heavier weights, right? So my job is to help them uncover the things that they can't see themselves. We all have money, a relationship with money. We have money mindsets. We all have grown up with different views on money, different scripts. We have things that play out in our head. My job is to help our clients see that. The tactical and practical is easy to do, but what's preventing you from doing it? What's preventing you from creating a budget and following it? What's preventing you from actually paying off debt? We have to get inside and get into those sticky places. That's where the traction, happens. And that's where we start to see progress because we really help to realign their actions with their desires and what can actually then happen. And I see it all the time when someone starts to work with me, something happens where more money starts to come in because now they're being intentional. And it's almost like I believe in God, but some people might say the universe. When you take action in an area, like the universe is going to reward you because now you have a plan to do something really good with that money.
Yeah, that's great. And what ultimately you're looking to do is create margins so then these people will have uh, an emergency fund set up so that they can make it through the next recession where some of their competitors might go out of business. And that's the reason why we see most businesses fail is because they don't have the financial backing that they need. I think there's a statistic out there that 90% of small businesses fail in the first 5 years, and it's usually from a lack of finances.
Mm.
So once somebody does get that margin built in, then what happens? What can they do with that?
So the goal with, especially with business owners, is to pay them, just to pay yourself, right? So many business owners go into business thinking that they're like, oh my gosh, this is, you build it and they will come. And some of them are really great. They make multiple six figures. However, they're barely paying themselves, or they're paying themselves half, or they're saying, okay, not this paycheck, skip me. We got to pay, you know, the assistant and the contractors. And so they really, the goal with it is so that they can pay themselves a consistent paycheck, a consistent salary as the business owner. And that will then free themselves up on their personal side to be able to, invest, whether, like retirement, or to be able to take vacations, to pay off debt at home, to do things that they've wanted to do for so long. It allows them to not freak out. So one thing with business, it's very cyclical, right? We all have seasons of growth and expansion, or busy seasons, then we have periods that our revenues dip. So how do we survive those? We really want to be braced for that, if that's a natural cycle for you, that we have the padding required so that you can still pay yourself consistently, you can still pay your bills, things are still moving along. We know the season's going to pick back up. And so there's nothing to worry about, because there's nothing worse than being on the emotional roller coaster that's mirroring the revenue roller coaster. So the goal is always stability on the back end.
And when they come back to me and it's time to invest, because you don't do any investments, you're not licensed to do investments, and we have to say that for Commonwealth compliance. You're just a coach, a financial coach. When they do come back to me to invest, that's when we can start looking at, well, do they set up a 401k as opposed to a simple IRA or a SEP or a cash balance plan? What are they eligible for? What could help them save the most money? But if they don't have their finances straightened out before they open up a 401k, what we find is people will contribute for 4 or 5 months, and then all of a sudden they'll stop contributing
Mhm.
because something happened, an emergency came up, and they needed money, and they don't have the money to contribute. So having a solid plan in place first gets them better prepared for retirement and makes them better investment clients, because they
Yeah.
really have the ability, then they have that margin to really save and move forward quickly. We see a lot of people who get into their late 40s and early 50s, and then all of a sudden it's like the light bulb goes off and they're like, wait a minute, I'm going to be retiring in 15, 20 years, and I don't have anything saved, or I have very, very little saved. And the earlier that light bulb goes off for you, the better, because we all know that with time, finances grow over time, and you need to have that time to let things grow, and you can't wait until you're 65 to start saving for retirement. Although even in those cases, I've seen you
Yeah.
make incredible progress with people in very short time periods. When you have a high income, you can kind of run through the steps to get out of debt and get yourself in a
Yes.
good footing. If you have, I think, somebody looking over your shoulder kind of a thing and looking at everything twice with you, rather
Mhm.
than you just looking at it and excusing things. It's better to have that accountability of somebody else looking over your shoulder at everything you're doing financially.
Right, right. And what I do with clients is it's very collaborative, but I help them see the options that they don't see themselves. So
Then
we're so used to, looking at our own numbers, our own situation, or maybe not looking at them, but getting very pigeonholed into, well, I can only do X, or I can only do Y. And my job is to be like, well, you've got the whole alphabet of choices. And here's what we're going to talk through them. They then get to make the choice that suits them best. I get to lay out the pros and cons of options. And so it's fun to help clients figure that out, because I might say, hey, let's pay off your car. We can pay it off in one fell swoop with this bonus. They might say, no, I would feel even better if I paid off X or Y debt that's over here. And it might not be the $400 a month payment, but that just makes them feel better because it's some debt that they don't like, or it's from a divorce or whatever, right? There's other emotional ties. So I work with my clients on doing what's best for them, but we're always moving in that direction of let's make progress. And like you said, when they've created that stability within their own income and can live within their means, and they've got debt paid off, they've got savings, now investing becomes automatic. They set it and truly forget it because they don't need that money every month to do things. They've got reserves in the bank and they can handle it.
I think sometimes when people know that they're not putting enough away for retirement or they're not putting enough away for their kids for college, they just kind of try and avoid it. They don't open their statements. They don't want to, they just kind of, it's an avoidance behavior. Do you find that?
I do, and I think it has a lot to do with the emotions tied around money because so many people feel shame around money. They feel I should be farther along. I'm 47 and I should have, I don't know, $1.5 million in retirement or whatever their thoughts are, and they don't. So when they look at their numbers, it just makes them feel worse. And so my job is to help take away the shame and to help them feel that, well, first of all, you're not alone. So many people are in similar or worse situations. So we have to start from where you're at. And the first step is to be willing to look, and avoiding it doesn't make it better. It doesn't. You're sweeping it under the rug. And so we have to open the closet and turn on the light to see that there's no monster there. And it's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think sometimes with business owners and with individuals, they really can't even imagine what their life would be like, especially high income earners with absolutely no debt. When you have a high income and you have no debt, um, you can really make progress very fast towards saving for retirement. But they just can't imagine life without a car loan, life without a mortgage, life without
Right.
student loans. We have people now who are trying to transition into retirement with student loans, and I say, "How long have you been dragging around these student loans for 20 years, 30 years now? I mean, how long are when are you gonna pay them off?"
Yeah. Yeah. Think of how much interest is built on those suckers too, right? Like, and if they've ever been deferred and how that's grown. Right. I think with high income earners, they are my sweet spot. I really do enjoy it because we can just move a few things and they make progress really quickly. But I think that's also a detriment to them because they have enough money that they don't really feel the pain month to month. They're like, "Oh no, we're fine." Like they might even have money left over. They just don't have a plan for it. It eventually evaporates in terms of like, I don't know, a trip to Disney or other. And so they don't feel the pain. But like we make enough, it covers all their sins.
Yeah.
So so they don't they're like, "No, we're good." And they love the new car thing and they love all of the stuff that they're enjoying right now. And I don't ever want to take away people's enjoyment of life. The goal is not to strip away, and make you drive some beater Hyundai. Like the goal is not that. The goal is like you can keep your car. Let's just maybe rearrange how we're spending our money on a regular basis. Let's pay off debt. You can keep the car. You don't have to keep the car, but there is a way to always be buying cars with cash. So what does that look like? And
Yeah.
so, yeah, there's a multitude of answers to this question, right? So lots of options.
Yeah, it's great to run a debt-free business and a debt-free life, and I know you're debt-free, and, I'm totally debt-free and have been for over 10 years, and there's nothing better than that when you're a high income earner and you are debt-free, your wealth grows exponentially.
Yeah, yeah, a lot. Grows fast, and that's what's really, really fun. It's fun to play with numbers. Okay, Chad. So I know that I have sent a couple of clients of mine back to you to work with you on investments. What are some of the systems that you help these clients of yours create or implement so that they can then grow their investments, whether for retirement or for other?
Sure. So for a lot of these people that I send to you, they are high income earners and you've helped them clean up their balance sheet and really find some margin, find some ways they can invest money each month and really straightened out a lot of their debt. And they're really in a great position to now play catch up because a lot of them are in their late 40s, 50s, maybe even 60s. And so it's time to catch up. So what we want to implement is we want to implement, you know, the right retirement plan if they own a small business. If they don't all own a small business and they are working for a corporation, we want to make sure that they're fully utilizing the 401ks or 403bs or other plans that they might have available at work, 457 deferred comp plans. And and we want them to really maximize the benefits of those plans. We have quite a few 401ks that we've set up for local small businesses, and we do 401ks, profit sharing, SEP IRAs, simple IRAs, and for the high income earners, like doctors or lawyers who may not have any employees, um, we look at things like cash balance plans where they can really defer and save a lot of money on taxes, and really get themselves in a great position for retirement in a very short period of time, because the contribution limits on cash balance plans are very, very high, and a lot of these income earners are in the higher tax brackets, the 35, the 37% tax brackets. So we are getting a lot of that income off their tax return and saving them a lot of money on taxes by setting up the proper retirement plans. But our specialty
Mm,
is primarily helping people prepare and transition into retirement, and then helping them after they retire with what order, which accounts should they take money from first, and when should they turn on Social Security, and when and how much should they take out of their IRA accounts before going into the next tax bracket. Because it doesn't make much sense to, while you're working, contribute, and people don't understand this. When you are contributing to your retirement plans, you are contributing from the top tax bracket down. So in other words, if you're in the 35% tax bracket and you contribute enough to your 401k or your other retirement plan, you're contributing from the 35% tax bracket and hoping to get into a lower tax bracket. When you take the money out of your retirement account, when you're retired and you're pulling money out from the lower tax brackets. And the more money you pull out of your IRA, the higher tax bracket you will go into. So let's say you're in the 27% tax bracket and you're pulling money out, you're putting money in to your 401k, you're saving 27%. And then the idea is when you retire, we should be in a lower tax bracket because we don't own our business anymore. Our business has been sold, or we're not in a high income bracket anymore. So now we should be able to get the money out at a lower tax rate. But some people are turning on their Social Security right away, which increases their income and makes the distributions that they take out of their retirement accounts could be taxed at a higher rate because of that. And in some cases, people are putting it in it and saving 27%, but when they're taking it out at 22 or 25 or 27%. And what did they really accomplish by doing that? Okay, they got
right.
some years of tax deferred growth, but they could have maybe deferred at 27. And when they retired, they could have taken it out in the 12% tax bracket. Because for next year, for a married couple filing joint, the 12% tax bracket will, as long as they don't turn on their Social Security, will go up to about $139,000. So they can pull out $139,000 from retirement accounts, assuming no other income, and be in the 12% tax bracket. Now, if they try to do that after turning on their Social Security, they'll find they pushed themselves into the 22% tax
Yeah.
bracket, paying almost double tax on those distributions.
Yeah.
So these are all things that we help people with once they retire. But you're working with them to get them to the point where they can save for retirement, because a lot of these
Right.
people find that they're so disorganized with their finances, they don't have the ability to save for retirement.
Mhm. Right. It takes a lot of intentionality in terms of managing your money. So it takes a lot, and looking at whether it's a business or it's an individual on the personal side, it's where's your money been going, and start to really rein that in, because even businesses have runaway expenses. People sign up for things they never use, or subscriptions or softwares or whatever, hiring staff that they don't really need. So it's
Mhm.
looking, how do we rein those in without, I don't ever want my clients to feel like we're taking everything away from them. We're not going to this beans and rice kind of approach, at least in my world, but it's about getting in control. It's about understanding, what do I want most? And so do we want the flashy new car right now, or do we want to put money towards retirement that could grow, or is it something else, right? Whatever it is, we just start to prioritize with what they want.
Yeah, the other thing is, like Dave Ramsey says, you can wander into debt, but you can't wander out. You have to be intentionable. I made up a word.
Super. Yes.
You have to be intentional about getting out of debt. You have to be focused. But you can wander into debt. I mean, people
Oh,
do it
yeah.
all the time. You go to a store, you go to buy something, and they offer you 20% off if you sign up for their credit card. And before you know it, you've got $3,000 on that credit card, and it's just reoccurring every month. And how did that happen? And so you can wander into debt, but you can't wander out. You have to be
Exactly.
intentional.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I feel like you and I can nerd out about like all the stuff you were just talking about with the taxes, because Social Security, it's really hard to know when to take it. Everyone's like, wait till 70, but what if you're born in a certain year? You could take it, or like there's a lot of factors that play into it. And you're all about saving on taxes in retirement.
Yeah, there's a lot of people just don't know the rules. One of the taxes we see, especially high income earners getting hit with now in retirement, is IRMA taxes. And people have no idea that IRMA taxes even existed. They don't even know what they are. And all of a sudden they're getting hit with them. And they're coming to see us and they're saying, I thought, I have no idea what this even is. Why was I getting 3,000 a month in Social Security and now I'm only getting 2,500? What happened? And they don't know how it's calculated. They don't know how they can fix it. And so we help people with that as well. And that's a big one that's hitting more and more people who are in higher and higher brackets in retirement.
What is IRMA? I'm not familiar with it.
It's income related monthly expenses. It's an additional tax for Medicare and Medicaid.
Oh,
Yeah.
does it specifically only hit people who are in that age bracket,
Well,
or?
you're paying, I shouldn't say Medicare and Medicaid. Medicaid is part of the welfare program, but Medicare it's an additional tax on Part B and Part D of your Medicare premium, and it comes out of automatically your Social Security. But and it only hits at certain income levels in retirement. It starts to be calculated, and people don't even realize this. It starts to be calculated when you turn 63 years old, because you go on Medicare at 65, and the tax is calculated, and then they don't hit you with it the year it's calculated. No, that would make sense. They hit you with it 2 years later, and people don't realize that if their income is going to change in retirement, there is a way to appeal it. So they get hit with this tax and they might pay it for a full year before they even realize that they could appeal it because their income changed. Let's say you sell a rental property, that could really hit you with IRMA taxes. And so now, what you thought you were going to get in Social Security is much less. And people very much dislike that. They don't know how it's calculated and they don't know how to fix it. So we have a lot of people coming in for that, to take a look at that,
Right,
to have it
right.
help them with that. And it's kind of odd, because you do your taxes and you would think, okay, well, if I'm over certain income limits and I'm going to be hit with these taxes, it'll happen now. No, it happens 2 years later. So all of a
Wow.
sudden somebody's going along thinking everything's fine, and then they get hit with these taxes and they don't understand why.
Mm,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's quite confusing. The tax
But
code,
you help make sense of it. Yeah. But
right?
you help your clients make sense of it all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the visual aids that we use with our clients are second to none. We really have a lot of happy clients that really
Yeah.
fully understand, you know, when they walk out of our office, why their taxes look the way they do, and if they take out another 10,000, how much it's going to cost them. If they take out another 20,000, how much it's going to cost them. Some people don't even realize, like, they're retired and they need money for something, and they they just arbitrarily take out another 10,000, not realizing they're going past the
Mm.
IRMA tax or going into another tax bracket. And the IRMA tax is a cliff tax. So if you're on one side of it, you don't pay it. You take another $1,000 out of your IRA and you go to the other side of it and you pay the full amount. And so for an
Mm.
extra $1,000, it could cost you $2,000 in taxes. So the
Mm.
tax rate on IRMA could be, for if you're at that limit, it could be over 100% because I'm taking
Wow.
out an extra 1,000, but it cost me
Yeah.
2,000.
Yeah, it's
So
200%.
that's the way IRMA works. You go past the line and you pay it. You're before the line and you don't pay it. And there's different levels of IRMA. So some people will go past the first, second, third, fourth spike,
Yeah.
and it gets more and more expensive each time. So, Amy, I know you have a website, right? And how do people get in touch with you if they want to explore working with you?
Absolutely. They can go to my website, which is Amy Greene FC. So my business name is Amy Greene Financial Coaching. Amy Greene, that's with the third E, so Greene. They can also go to Amy Greene FC at Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn as well to follow me on social.
Okay, and they're able to get a hold of you that way, set an appointment with you. And do you offer any complimentary appointments to just initially talk to somebody and see if they're a good fit?
Absolutely. So for entrepreneurs, it's called a cash flow clarity call. And in that session, we will discuss where you are, what you want to create, and whether or not working together is the right fit for you. And I have a couple of options for that, a new offer coming up. And then the same thing for personal finances. If you're interested in that too, you can book a call and we'll talk about that and what that looks like. It's called my sale to wealth method.
Great.
Yeah.
And everybody knows where to find me. SafeHarborWM.com.